All right, there is a lot happening at the San Diego Unified School District in terms of graduation. We're almost there.
Yep.
In terms of standardized testing and that controversial Robert E. Lee Elementary School change. Superintendent Cindy Marten is here to discuss all of these things. Good morning.
Good morning. Nice to see you.
Okay, so let's start with the Robert E. Lee Elementary School change. Front page of the paper this morning. It's something we've been covering here. Where do we stand with that?
This will be coming before the board next Tuesday, and the students at the school have been in a months-long process thinking about what they want the new name for their school to be. They decided to change the name, that it was time for a change, and they've come up with a new name, and they'll be presenting to the board next Tuesday for a board's final approval, which is our process.
What was the educational process to rename the school? Because you had to be able to tell the students what was going on here, right? The controversy surrounding that.
And what happened is that happened in the classroom where it belongs. The conversation happened grade by grade, even with kindergartners, all the way through 5th grade, and teachers designed lessons and a series of lessons around the history, around the context, and then they went into identity. What's the identity of our school? Who are we, and what does our school represent? Does our school represent these values, and what sets of values? What's our vision? And then they started looking at historical figures. They came up with Amelia Earhart was somebody that they had looked at, and they also have a name called Pacific View Leadership Academy. That's the name that they're bringing before the board on Tuesday for final approval. And it came from a student standing out on the playground and looking. They have a beautiful view. If you've ever been to Lee and you stand out on their playground, you can actually see the Pacific, and they're proud of the location of the school, but then they want to be leaders, and they talked about having voice and having agency in their community, being an agent for change, and so Leadership Academy is aligned to what they believe, who they are as a school.
And it'll be a very special meeting then when the kids actually present that name to the board, and then the procedure is then the board will approve, or?
Yeah, there's a names committee. It goes before the names committee, and the names committee brings it before the board, but we have our students involved, and using their voices was really important to us.
All right. So let's shift to the next topic at hand, which is we are getting very close to graduation here. And San Diego Unified is graduating an unbelievable amount of kids, and the percentage is it an all-time high?
Yes, 92%. We're on track to graduate 92% of our students, meeting the new higher graduation requirements. So folks know those requirements were passed in 2009 by the Board of Education, and they're called A through G requirements. It's more rigorous expectations, so students are prepared to get into California's universities and prepared for college and career. And so those graduation standards went up 2009, but 2016 class is the first class to graduate under these new requirements. And so here we have the new class coming in 2016, and we're very proud of our teachers, our counselors, our principals, but most of all of our students for not only meeting these requirements, but 92% are on track to graduate.
Where were we in 2009? What was the number? If it's 92% now, where was it before?
Well, the last number we had was 89. We've been slowly inching up from that, but to go from 89 to raise the standards, there were predictions that the graduation rate would go down if you increase the standards, and each year we'd been moving up. And people were thinking, well, if you're moving up and you raise the standards, are you going to take a dip? And in fact, we did not take a dip. We continued by building a systemic, coherent approach and aligning coursework across the entire system. You know, we're the 2nd largest district in the state. We're the 8th largest in the country. To achieve this and being on track 92%. To be in the top 5, the highest of the top 5 large urban districts in the state of California. It's quite an accomplishment, and it was an absolute systemic effort led first by a board's vision. And when they passed this back in 2009, folks were saying, wow, that's really big, but we want our diploma when you leave our schools to mean something. I know you graduated from Crawford.
I sure did.
And you know, your diploma, you have your high school diploma. We want our diplomas to be something that kids leave our system ready to participate and compete in the world of tomorrow.
What is it about these A through G standards that is so, that when passed was so kind of eyebrow raising?
Some of the features, for example, 2 years of foreign language is required now. That's not required by the state of California, but in our standards it is. We also requiring a 3rd year of mathematics. Those are some examples. And expanded arts, a requirement that you have to have arts. So we want a broad, challenging, well-rounded curriculum where our students leave and they've been exposed to rigorous coursework, but also broad coursework. So you have the arts, you have the foreign languages, you have math and sciences, and that prepares you to compete in whatever gift and strength and talent and ability you personally have. You've left high school with a broad range of skills to go forth and
that
serve.
broad coursework also includes you're reducing the number of tests, so people actually do get more knowledge and more broad-based education as opposed to just studying for tests.
Yeah, we're moving past the era of over-testing. We think that there's been too much testing, and the role of testing, we talk more about assessment, classroom-based assessments. Of course, there's standardized testing that happens at the state and federal level. That does not go away, but at the local level, we believe the assessments, and this is an announcement that we made last week, but that the assessments belong in the classrooms with the teachers who work closely with our boys and girls every single day. And those kinds of assessments that matter are the ones that are classroom-based. And so we scaled back all the district-level standardized assessments that are not as meaningful, frankly, and as not as helpful. And we want our students to come to school to learn, and we were looking at the percentage of time students are testing, teachers are administering tests, and we want there to be time focused on teaching and learning.
Well, it certainly is good news all the way around, it seems, Cindy. Congratulations on that. And we are going to follow up with you as soon as these SAT test results come out to see how the curriculum has shaped these kids in terms of taking that test.
Absolutely.
Because that just changed this year, right?
There are major changes in SAT, which is in line with people nationally are looking at the role of assessment and testing in school. So that change is a big one, too.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for being here this morning.